Another Islamic concept that was thought to have come from the Zoroastrians is the chopping off of a thief's hand. This is also from the ancient Egyptians. So the Muslims in Sharia law, basically, they cut off the hand of a thief. The hand of a thief has to be cut off. Now the Zoroastrians, the Sassanid Empire also had that. The Zoroastrians in the Sassanid Empire had that. It comes from the Egyptians originally, but let's go ahead and read this together. During the reign of the Sasanian king, Ardashir I, he changed the punishment for theft from the severing of the culprit's hand to cutting off part of their nose and having them compensate the victim. That way they can still fight in battles and be useful to society. Dr. Abdurrahim Siddiqui mentions that theft was a felony in ancient Egypt, and he states that the severance of a culprit's hand was applied in certain cases. And then we read, Idris, who is Hermes, gave the people the commandments, and he ordered that a thief must have his hand severed. So the ancient Egyptians used to sever the hands of a thief, used to sever the hand of a thief. From the Muslim sources we read, it was narrated that Ibn Muhayriz said, I asked Fadla bin Ubaid about hanging the hand of the thief from his neck, and he said, it is sunnah. The Messenger of Allah cut off a thief's hand, then hung it from his neck. It is sunnah means it's a commandment. Okay? Prayers before ablution. While standing, the person washes with running water or something else. Then, still standing, they turn to face the greatest luminary, and next prostrate themselves, and say while prostrating, Blessed be our true guide, the Paraclete, the Apostle of Light, blessed be his ministering angels, and praised be his luminous hosts. They say this while prostrate. Then they stand and do not remain prostrate, but assume an upright posture. Now the first prayer takes place around noon. The second prayer is between noon and sunset. Afterwards, there's an evening prayer after sunset, and then the prayer for the first third of the night, taking place 3 hours after sundown. So the prayers at the same times as the Muslims. There's 4 prayers mentioned here, but in other religions, as we're going to see, they have 5 prayers, just like the Muslims, at the same times. Okay? This is from the Mandaean sources. Ablutions must be performed before every prayer with running water. There are 5 prayers, 3 obligatory and 2 are called rahmis. From the word rahma, requesting mercy and forgiveness, prayers include prostration, standing, bowing down, and standing again. Every prayer ends with prostration. Mandaeans pray at Fajr, down, Zuhr, midday, and just before Maghrib, sunset. Okay? So the same times as the Muslims, sunrise, noon, sunset, afternoon, and then around supper time. I also have a prayer. So the same times, it's basically the same times. As for prayer, this is from the Yazidi sources. As for prayer, he told me that 5 prayers daily are ordered for the pious Yazidi. 1 at dawn, 1 at sunrise, and 1 at noon, and 1 in the afternoon, and 1 at sunset. Exactly like the Muslims. Each time the worshipper must face the sun. See that? Before praying, hands and face should be washed and cleaned. Before all worship, the Yazidi should wash himself, and before any feast, the body should be cleansed completely in either hot or cold water, and white garments should be put on. Prayer is necessary before eating. Before and at the festivals, he said, there are special prayers. From the Zoroastrian sources, Before each prayer, each Zoroastrian must perform pedyab, ablution. Face and limbs are washed 3 times, the first 2 times with flower extracts, cucumber juice and oils, substituted by soap and lotion at these times, and finally with water. The 5 prayer of the Zoroastrians are as follows. They're called Ge. The first one is from sunrise till noon. The second is from noon till 3 p.m. The third is from 3 p.m. to sunset. The fourth is from sunset to midnight. And the fifth is from midnight up to sunrise. So, from the Egyptian sources, rules of prayer: purity, washing after impurity, meaning intercourse, menstruation, etc., and ablution, washing of feet, hands, face, and gargling. Then they had the adhan, which is call for prayer, and the word adhan is an Egyptian word. See that? They had 5 prayers throughout the day, starting at sunrise and ending at sunset. They raise their hands, raising one's hand and glorifying Allah, standing with the right hand on top of the left hand, followed by kneeling, prostrating, and sitting. See these images. Look at these images from the Egyptian sources. It's literally just like the Muslims' prayer. See that? This is no coincidence. The same prayer, they have to, perform ablution. They have 5 prayers starting at sunrise, ending at sunset. It all has to do with the sun. This is all related to the sun. Ramadan also appears in many other religions, starting with Manichaeism. Also, whenever the new moon occurs and the sun is in the zodiacal sign of Aquarius, after 8 days of the month have passed, they begin fasting that day for 30 days. Breaking the fast each day at sundown, the Manichaean festival of Bema took place annually each spring, sometimes at the end of February or the beginning of March, and after a rigorous fast of 30 days. So they fasted, they had a 30-day fast, and then they had a festival called Bema, right, which took place annually at the end of February and the beginning of March after a rigorous fast of 30 days. The Muslims today call this Eid al-Fitr. This celebration that the Manichaeans had, today the Muslims call this Eid al-Fitr, which comes just after Ramadan. Okay, so they have Ramadan, then they have a festival, Eid al-Fitr, just like the Manichaeans. As in regards to fasting, they say this is the Yazidis. They say about the month of Ramadan that it was dumb and deaf. Therefore, when God commanded the Muslims to fast, He likewise commanded the Yazidis, saying to them in the Kurdish language, Ses, or Sesi, meaning 3. The Muhammadans did not understand it. They took it for Se, meaning 30. For this reason, the Yazidis fast 3 days. After fasting the 3 days, in the first week of December, the Yazidis celebrate the easy holiday, which means the feast of the Creator, or what is known as Lent. From the Mandaean sources, Mandaeans fast 36 days during the year. During those days, they abstain from copulation and from eating meat and dairy products like Christians. Those 36 days are divided into 2 sections. 32 days are called static. Those are scattered across the year and follow the solar calendar, meaning they don't change with time. The remaining 4 days follow the lunar calendar and are called variable. The first variable day is on the day of Arafat for the Muslims. The second is on the day of Eid al-Adha. The third is on the first day of Ramadan. And the final one is the final day of Ramadan. See that? I mean, it's the same thing. The fast is somewhat different. They abstain from eating meat or dairy products, like Christians. But look at the times of these, the fast. They have a fast on the first of Ramadan. They have a fast on the final day of Ramadan. They have a fast on Eid al-Adha, and they have a fast on the day of Arafat. You know, this is all coming from one source, basically. Our Egyptian ancestors used to fast, and they fasted from sunrise to sunset for 30 days. See that? My note in this book, the writer Nadim al-Sayyar describes the ancient Egyptians as being the progenitors of Sabiism and quotes several texts from the Muslim sources that state that the Sabians fasted for 30 days from sunrise till sundown, and they abstained from approaching their women and from eating or drinking. The Sabians are required to fast a month, and they conclude their fast with charity. The Messenger of Allah imposed on the people the zakat, almsgiving, of Eid al-Fitr at the end of Ramadan. Now, let's continue reading. The people of pre-Islamic era used to fast the 30 days. The people in Mecca, aka Petra, where the Prophet used to live, fasted those 30 days. Let's read this together. Verses that sanctify and glorify the holy month of Ramadan are all well known, and this month was inherited from the Arabs of pre-Islamic era. Abd al-Muttalib, the Prophet's grandfather, used to practice asceticism in the cave and gave alms to the poor in the form of food all throughout Ramadan. So zakat, or almsgiving, is one of the pillars of Ramadan. You know, one of the commandments of Ramadan. In fact, Ramadan is a compound Sanskrit word. It's made up of two words. The first word, Rama, means delightful, and then the second word, Dana, means almsgiving. So Ramadana, or Ramadan, means the delightful almsgiving. The month of delightful almsgiving. Let's go ahead and start reading some more about the Egyptians. And the Egyptian temples were made up of two parts. The Hay, meaning courtyard, or in this case the nave, and the Kal, meaning mihrab. And the name of their temple was Haykal, which is also an Arabic word for temple. Mihrab is found in every mosque. The mihrab is a structure. You're going to find this structure on one of the walls of the mosque, and it points you towards Mecca. It's a structure that points towards Mecca. It helps you in determining the direction of Mecca so you can pray to Mecca. Okay? And Al-Kifti stated that Idris was the first man to build temples. Ibn Juljul and Ibn Abi Usayba also stated this. We have previously stated that the domes in ancient Egyptian temples represented the sky, and they believed that God had divided the sky into 7 layers. And they sometimes drew these domes with a depiction of these layers. The 7 planets. The layers are the 7 planets. He it is who created for you all that is in the earth. He then turned to the heaven, fashioned it as 7 heavens, and he is the knower of all things. Did we not build 7 strong heavens above you? As for where all of the Egyptian knowledge came from, Al-Kifti tells us that God taught Idris all of the secrets of astronomy and its structure. Al-Fida makes the same claim. The minbar, which is the raised platform the Imam uses when delivering a ceremony, was in the Idrisi temple. Idrisi temple, comes from Idris. Idris, who is Hermes, as we've said, who is Thoth, who basically founded Sabiism. Idris, or Thoth, founded Sabiism. The minbar was in the Idrisi temple, and it contained 7 stairs. Thus, the Imam would go up the 7 steps as if he was going through the 7 heavens and deliver the divine knowledge from there. And their prayers were preceded by adhan, call to prayer. The ancient Egyptian Sabian Hanafis knew the adhan, and in Mandaic, adhan means call to prayer. See that? And we've previously said adhan is an Egyptian word. Okay? And he calls them Sabian Hanafis. Notice the words that he's using, Sabians and Hanafis, because they founded Sabism. The Egyptians founded Sabism. Okay, and Hanafi, the Muslim scholars interpret Hanafi to mean monotheistic religion. Monotheistic Sabism or monotheistic form of worship. We're going to dive deeper into this. And the testimony that there is no God but Allah was the main pillar of the Idrisi Hanafis. One of their inscriptions reads, God is one, He is the only one, and another one reads, He is one, and He has no second. Hanafi was used to mean pagan by the Christians. From this source we read, the saint asks the demon whom they prefer, the pagans, meaning Hanafis, or the Jews. Now Hanafi is important because if you read these two verses, we're going to come back to what we were reading, but let's just look at these two verses. And they say, be Jews or Christians, then you will be guided. Say to them, O Prophet, no, we follow the only religion of Abraham, Hanafi, Hanafism basically, Islamic monotheism, worship none but Allah. And he was not of al-mushrikun, those who worshipped others along with Allah. And in this next verse, Ibrahim was neither Jewish nor Christian, but he was a true Muslim Hanifa. Hanafi meaning he was a true Muslim Hanafi. Islamic monotheism to worship none but Allah. See that? So what the writer is actually telling us is that Sabian Hanafis, when he calls the Egyptians the Sabian Hanafis, what he means is the founders of Islam and the founders of all of the Sabaic religions. Previously we said everyone in the world was a Sabian. The Sabians are mentioned in the Quran, as we've seen. Sabians are mentioned in the Quran. So, who founded Sabism? The Egyptians. Okay? And Hanafi, as we've seen, is used to describe monotheistic form of worship. But let's continue reading. Al-Alusi mentions that Idris taught people that God is one and he preached monotheism. So, Idris, who is Thoth, taught people to worship none but Allah, none but the true one God, Allah. So he was a monotheist and he preached monotheism. Al-Kifti wrote the same about Idris. Abdul Hamid al-Sahar wrote that Idris was sent to the Egyptians. He taught them monotheism before the era of the dynasties. As for prayer, it was after wudu, ablution. Their prayer was after ablution. And the place of wudu means ablution, for the Egyptians was called Bir Dua, meaning the house. Bir means house, Dua, wudu. Dua means ablution or wudu. And that word hayy means come to prayer. For the Muslims today, the word hayy means come to prayer, means rise and or get up. For the Egyptians, from the Egyptian sources, this word used to mean rise up. The worshippers stood in rows and they had an imam facing them. And the word imam is also Egyptian. The Egyptian worshippers, meaning the Egyptian worshippers used to stand up in rows and they had an imam facing them, and the word imam is also Egyptian. Enoch, who is Idris, and he is also called Hermes, the king at the time, was Mahawil, son of Enoch, son of Kabil. Idris prophesied when he was 40 years old, and the king intended evil for him. So God Almighty protected him and sent down 30 pages upon him. He was born in Egypt, left it and traveled around the entire earth, until his religion pervaded the earth, and his religion was Sabism, which is the monotheism of God, and he followed the original Hanafism. And mention in the book, O Prophet, the story of Enoch. He was surely a man of truth and a prophet. Enoch here is actually Idris, but they converted it to Enoch. If you read it in Arabic, it's Idris. But with the translation, they converted it to Enoch. Next up, the word Saba. What does the word Sabian mean? The word Saba means student or tutor, and the actual meaning of the word is Sabi'i, is seeker of divine knowledge. Sabi'i means the Sabian in Arabic. The true meaning of the word Sabi'i, meaning Sabian, is seeker of divine knowledge or student of divine knowledge. And the word Saba means knowledge. The word Saba means knowledge, and the actual meaning here is divine knowledge. And this is the same meaning as Gnosticism. You know, Gnostic, someone who's Gnostic is someone who seeks divine knowledge, or a student of divine knowledge. And thus, the followers of Idris, who were called the Sabians, were also known as Hanafis. The word Hanaf means submitted, and it has the same meaning as Muslim in Arabic. It means submitted to Allah. Okay? Hanaf is an Egyptian word that means to submit, and it means to submit to Allah. The word Deen, religion in Arabic, comes from the Egyptian word Di, which means 5, and the letter N means doctrine. So it's the doctrine of the 5. And those 5 commandments are monotheism, prayer, ablution, fasting, Hajj, and almsgiving, which is the same exact as Islam. And they, the Egyptians, used to fast, and the word Sawm in Arabic is from the Egyptian word Saw, which means to abstain from, and they fasted for 30 days from sunrise till sunset, and the word Kaaba is Egyptian. It entered into the English language and became Q, and the word Hajj means light, whereas the word as means in the direction of, and Hijaz means towards the light. See that? And our ancestors performed Hajj to Abydos and to the Kaaba, which Idris built around 5500 BC. Hijaz is in Saudi Arabia, for anyone that's wondering. It's a location in Saudi Arabia, northwestern Saudi Arabia. Egypt, the cradle of Sabiism. It is worth mentioning that the origin of this Idrisi Sabaic doctrine is Egypt. They are the first Sabians, and they taught monotheism. Al-Alusi mentions that Idris was born in Egypt. He traveled the world and taught people to pray to the one and only God, until the whole world were Sabians. Al-Kifti stated in his book that the Egyptians were Sabians during the ancient times and they stayed this way until the end of the Pharaonic era. See that? The Egyptians were Sabians and they stayed this way until the end of the Pharaonic era. And the historian Ahmad Najib stated that Egypt went through 3 phases. First, they were Sabians, then they were Christians, and then finally Muslims. And the Egyptian Sabians knew all of their lives that their prophet was Idris, who was also called Hermes. And the historian Sharubim stated that Ramses II had received all of his teachings from Hermes, who is Idris. And the Greeks were mostly Sabians, and they were divided into 2 groups. The first followed Pythagoras' philosophy, and the second Plato. And Pythagoras was more common. Al-Kifti states that he took his knowledge from Egypt and went back to Greece to teach it. Researcher Salama Musa stated that Pythagoras spent more time in Egypt than in his home country. And Plato was not content with his knowledge from Greece, so he traveled to Egypt, the land of Idrisi Sabiism, and studied at the University of Heliopolis for 13 years straight. Islamic researcher Muhammad Abu Zahra stated that the ancient Egyptians were the most puritanical fanatics, meaning people on the planet, and no other nation is known to have reached their level of fanaticism. Historian Ahmad Najib stated that the Egyptians were known for being puritanical and they were monotheistic. Some of their remaining papyri show that they believed in one God. God is one with no partner. He is the creator of everything. See that? Yahya Suhrawadi stated that the wise people of the ancient world had taught the doctrine of Hermes, who is Idris in the Quran, and this wisdom, he said, spread in Greece through the philosophers like Plato and Pythagoras, and it spread into the East through the Zoroastrians. See that? All of the ancient world were Sabians. We're going to talk some more about this. There's a lot to uncover. The next chapter is going to discuss how the Hindus corrupted the doctrine of the Egyptians. Okay, so it's going to be a very interesting lecture. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this. Till next time, bye bye.